Future.
Mm. What are you aware of? What impressions are you getting?
I feel like I'm going, it feels around 3 years ahead, like 2027 to 2028.
Mm.
It's like I feel like I'm going up out of my body and drifting or floating there. And just, it's like looking over or looking down. I feel like I want to zoom in.
Mm. Then let's do that and see what you see.
There's like a different bandwidth or a different wall. So we've got extreme physical 3D matter, and then I see what looks like a veil, and it's all like ethereal, almost elemental like energy, where there's a lot of like luminosity and sparkle. And it's like a real sort of like distinction or shift. But it's like on the other side of that, in that softer energy, there's a timelessness and just a real kind of like ethereal nature to it.
Mm.
Feels like that's where I would like to be.
Mm-hmm.
Not through like the drudgery of the heaviness of some of this third dimensional experience that a lot of people like us are rising up and out of at the moment. And it's not to say that we won't be not living in the physical, because it's still physical, but it's less dense. They're giving me the word semi-physical. The fairies and elementals, they're helping us to traverse into that world and into that plane and dimension, as is a lot of the other interdimensional beings and extraterrestrials too, and even like Sasquatch, Bigfoot. It's like a coming together of the different realms.
Mm-hmm. A true team effort, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's like what we've been working towards. We may have felt alone in that. I mean, even like the dolphins and whales, it's like every other like group is doing their job to hold the vibration and to hold the strength. And it's almost like the humans are perhaps some of the least conscious out of those groups.
Mm. So you said that
But
we go ahead.
there's like an affinity that we have for deducing our higher self. There, it's like we can encapsulate the essence and spirit of that more into the physical body. We're not just living from ego, limited mind. From that point on, it really is like living from higher perspective. And this is one timeline. We are in the earth way. They're trying to seed negative timeline agendas, but this looks like that will triumph over that.
Mm. That is wonderful to hear. I was curious about how probable this timeline is, or how certain this path is.
Yeah, it feels like a natural progression. I feel like the Hollywood side of things really, it tries to make it so extreme, but this feels like a natural progression. And just that we're on the journey already. And it's just about being open in the heart and the mind and receiving the energy, receiving the codes and downloads that we get to shifting into that higher part of us. It's all about anchoring it into the physical. It's like that shaman energy, one foot in each world. We're overcoming duality and realizing just how much we are actually creator beings, and we do create our own reality. We do actually choose our destiny. There's a lot of repair happening, a lot of mending of relationships and connections to people, to animals, to the earth, and even to the elementals too. And there's a lot of deception being dispelled. And they're underlining that word to dispelled. The spell of illusion is being broken. It's almost like we're heading back to medieval times with stories of fairy tales and dragons, and realizing that all of that is real and true.
That's so beautiful. So will the elementals, the dragons, the fairies, more of these other dimensional beings, will they have more of a physical presence on the earth then? Will we interact with them more physically?
They're showing me it's interesting. The word I'm hearing is meta. It's almost like a metaverse kind of virtual reality feeling around it. So they might still be more kind of like ethereal nature starting to come into our density as we're oscillating into theirs. So there'll still be a bridge point factor. It won't be sort of instantaneously in the physical, but there's a point of bardo, of crossing, where they're coming into our frequency and reality, and we're trying to gravitate to hold higher frequency to come into theirs. So it's like a symbiosis connection that's starting to happen. So we're in the threads of that now, and we're forming the tapestry to be able to perceive the whole picture, but it's almost like we can only perceive threads of it, or like just various moments and flashes and glimpses of the whole picture. So it will still take a while to fully to anchor that, but it's more that we're going to be oscillating up into their dimension and their realm. I feel like I'm pixelating in my body. There's like a disassembling and reassembling, an osmosis of change that's happening in regards to that.
That's so fascinating. And that makes me think of a question that I had a moment ago, which was what will change in the physical? Because it sounds like there will still be physicality, there will still be that 3D layer, but will it be more of our feelings, or can you tell us more about how our lives will change then?
Yeah, we'll have more of an understanding that we are actually creator beings. So we'll see almost, it's like with the wave of a wand, so to speak, we'll see like almost instantaneous change. Or when we put out thoughts, we'll see how that flows back to us and creates certain types of reality. Some people will be faster at picking this up compared to others, and others will make a choice to veer off into a different direction or into a different path. They need to maybe perhaps experience more of the physical three-dimensional reality and are not perhaps ready to experience higher realities where we get to have creativity and full autonomy over creating our world.
Okay. And that was going to be a follow-up question I had, was, is everyone going on this timeline? Because I've heard different ideas and different theories around timeline switches and humanity's ascension. So it sounds like some will choose a different path. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah. So a lot of this is being led by the 144 that you hear about. And it's the 144 that are first stepping into this higher point of creation. They are how you would describe escaping duality, and in that they're creating reality. Think of it as code seeders. So they're starting to prepare and write new code for this reality. A lot of it's already being done in the dream world, not so much in the conscious reality, but a lot of this is being seeded from the astral and higher planes and dimensions. It's like all the background codes being prepared and written. And a lot of this is taking place while we sleep. And some people are conscious of it.
It's so fascinating that the 144,000 came through. Can you tell us more about what that means or the origins of that terminology?
Yeah, they're like jewels that are sparkling in a night sky. So there's an air, an old soul energy that goes with each of these people. And they are like what they refer to as star seeds down here in the earth realm reality. But there's a glimmer and a shimmer that each of them have. It's like a jewel that you can spot. Imagine a crystal or a jewel faceted, shimmering on the bottom of an ocean floor, and sunlight catching that, permeating through the ocean. So the ocean is like our consciousness, our conscious reality. And we can see these little glimmers and shimmers of light that are the 144. And so many of them being different in nature and different in facets, but still recognizable. It's through their light and luminosity that they hold. And some are still waking up to the fact that they are one of the 144. A lot of empaths, so their ego conscious mind rejects that. And there's a belittling of who they think they are. They don't place a self-importance around themselves. And that's sort of, I guess, how we distinguish between who maybe thinks that they're a 144 and who actually is. There's a huge ego detachment that actually comes through on a soul level. There's a purity of existence within the soul, within their consciousness. They're very, very giving, very open, very forgiving, beautiful, beautiful beings. They maybe perhaps don't have the confidence, but it's not about the confidence. It's about the multifaceted aspect of who their souls are. And a lot of them are chosen ones. And some of them volunteered and put their hands up no matter how scared they may have been to come to volunteer for this program down here in the earth realm. And many of them have volunteered for the programs outside of the earth realm to shift different universes into higher states of consciousness and to move things along in the multiverse program.
That's so fascinating and such a beautiful description of those souls. I'm curious, are all star seeds part of the 144,000 then, or is that more of a subgroup?
No, not all of them. Each person has different roles and different tasks. Some of them are here in assistance with the 144. There's an anonymity, is the word that they're giving me with the 144. A lot of them perhaps don't even recognize themselves as chosen ones or unique, different vibration. It's all to do with vibration. It's like musical chords creating a symphony. And it's to do with the song that they hold, the codes that they hold within them. It's like a stellar orchestra of music that's playing throughout our beautiful realm and our sphere. It's the music of the spheres symphonizing into the multiverse. It's much bigger than just our world or our universe.
It's so beautiful. And so fascinating to understand that it does go beyond just here on the earth plane.
Yeah. There's different planetary alignments that are like piano keys that are playing chords and codes that are awakening. So in regards to how do we awaken this knowledge within self or within our collective, know that it's being done through planetary alignment and astrology. and feeling certain frequencies of this music that comes from the spheres of the stars. Pluto is a big key factor in this.
Is that because of its particular frequency?
Yeah, and transformative energy. And it's also like the sneaky little unsuspecting, almost didn't make the cut team player that's here to win the game.
Mm.
A lot like the souls that have been chosen or volunteered to come here. It's like they awaken it and recognize, potentially even last minute. A lot of them have gifts and have skills, but they don't have like a showy ego with it. There's a softness with them. It's like there's a choir within their voice or within their codes too that is awakening in them in this time. A lot of them are feeling forced to share and to bring to the table. It's like having that feeling of feeling fear but doing it anyway. So a lot of them are stepping out to the plate. Many are in roles of pushing themselves forward to become teachers and to become healers. They just keep giving me the word synthesizer.
Mm. That these souls are like a synthesizer, or that altogether they're like that?
Yeah, the more that they can, instead of tuning into the synthesizer that's happening to do with this music that's awakening on a multiverse level, if they can instead take their attention away from the collective and group and focus on their own song, their own note, their own tune, just like Ariel in The Little Mermaid when she sings and that voice like strikes a chord and you feel it ripple through you and there's a carrying of notes. This is about our individual unique imprint on a soul code level that's carried within our voices. So if we can focus just on our frequency and code, we don't have to look outside of ourselves, but collectively each of those are being recorded individually to make this harmony and song together.
Mm. So it sounds like that idea of healing yourself to heal the collective. It's tune into your own frequency to build the collective frequency. It sounds like.
Yeah, it's much easier than the complicated nature that humans are making it.
Mm.
Everything is a distraction. It's actually quite simple. It's about tuning into your heart codes and frequency and about tapping into your womb space and solar plexus and your third eye. Each of those is like a subnote that joins together and merges into one beautiful harmony. So we hold our own chords and codes energetically. When we bring them together and merge them within self, this is where they start to birth forward like a seed pod, breaking through the soil, breaking through our 3D reality. If we can work on our harmonies,
That's so beautiful, and it reminds me of the voice coming through in our last session that we did together as well, and the importance of using your voice, and so it sounds like these 144,000, are they all going to be like sharing publicly or helping people publicly, or is this on a personal level, or what can you share about their mission and how they're supposed to do this?
many of them will feel drawn to go to potent ley lines and points and chakra points on the earth, there is an activation that takes place when these beautiful souls visit these portals. I'm seeing Uluru in the middle of Australia being quite a major one that a lot of souls are drawn to go and activate at and remember who they are before they came into Earth and before they're showing me star lineage, before they took on the human lineage. They knew that the star codes would be reanimated, re-remembered, and activated once they came into places and positions of soul ties. This is almost like you would call it like a tuner to go to these points. It's helping us to fine-tune our frequencies and harmonies and codes that we have within us. These points, these ley lines and portals are awakening and opening us to the extra factors of who we are, but they're also helping tune us. Well, I guess you could call them vortex points.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like the earth is supporting us as well.
Yeah, she is. And there's other access nodal points within the different stars and the planets that are creating grid lines connecting to our earth lines. A lot of this is also why there is pyramids. We have solar harmonics also coming in and influencing at the moment. There's songs that come through from the angelic choirs with the sun. They are singing to us and awakening us too.
It's so beautiful.
We just have to have the ears and the hearts and open our bodies to receive and to hear them. It's more receiving than it is giving, because we're going to hold it within us.
All right, so the 144,000 are more in that feminine energy, that energy of receiving.
The masculine can receive too. It's more about the bandwidth of the soul and the ability for them to transmute and to be a container for these star codes and solar frequencies. It's like with their feet anchored on the earth, there's a light transmission when they hold these codes that comes out through them. Just like in the movie The Fifth Element, a lot of these people are just like the fifth element. And it's also to do with their DNA. A lot of these people are being hunted or sabotaged and having dark forces sent after them, trying to disrupt them from completing this harmonic grid. A lot of deception, a lot of lies happening on earth plane reality, 3D dimension. All illusion, all designed to keep our frequency low.
That brings me back around to this vision of the future that you're seeing and this idea of escaping duality. I'm just curious, I mean, 2027 is right around the corner, and will duality be totally broken down at that point, or will there still be like bits of it left, or what can you tell us about that escaping of duality? Because I think a lot of people would be interested to hear that.
Yes, to a degree, it will be broken down, especially for those that are realizing that they are creator beings and those that are awakening to their creative potentials. I see a Pleiadian ship. I keep seeing a female energy. She's in a silver suit that has like a blue trim. And I keep seeing there's others with her. I feel like this is another aspect of me that's like in a ship just outside of our dimension in regards to all of this. She's like sitting, observing the conversation that we're having now and smiling and nodding. They're here, they're assisting and helping hold the frequency high as the old dimension and duality is broken down. This little program that we're deleting and destroying is being done from within. People had to come in to destroy it inwardly. It could not be done from outside. And some of these multidimensional or interdimensional beings and extraterrestrials are here helping and assisting, not necessarily being able to come in physically to do things, but there is, I guess, areas that they can come in and assist. There's like a jurisdiction around certain things. And so many of these beings have taken on human form, but they are indeed hybrids. And they do define themselves more as what you would call starseeds, but they are in fact ET souls disguised as humans.
So are these, they aren't incarnated in the same way as most human souls are? Would that be accurate? Or because you said they're disguised as?
Yeah, many of them don't feel a gelling with the physical body. It's like putting on a skin suit, but it feels like flubber or blubber. There's like not 100% cohesion with the 3D, with these advanced beings of being of a higher nature and dimensional reality. Just like how we've described in other things about some of the autistic children holding too much light and energy to cram it all into a physical body. It fries neural networks and it fries connection to the nervous system, and the messages don't get encoded properly in the physical reality body. So many of these beautiful, what you call starseeds, they forget that they have a body. They forget that they can come in more into the earth realm. So many of them are still learning how to fly in these particular dimensional bodies. Many of them are still getting comfortable and having to go through a lot of physical adjustments in order to try and help the body fit.
I'm just curious why they came this way rather than incarnating. Is there a reason for that?
So a lot of them are incarnated, the ones we're referring to, but they physically aren't sort of to the same level of grounded as what a natural born earthling would be. They don't experience the same symbiotic, anchored feeling. They're more, as you would say, anchored to the stars. So it's as if they're walking, floating, feet not touching the ground. Many of them are trying to learn to ground, but not all of them are supposed to. Many of them are supposed to bring the stars here and to bring this hybrid energy here. It's part of the job to raise the frequency. Although many of them are feeling like it's an ongoing drudgery chore at the moment, that they would rather be elsewhere, in a different lightness, not in this heavy nature dimensional reality. It's much harder than any of them could have intended.
I have to imagine some of these beings, these souls, will find their way to viewing this session, and I'm curious if you have any advice for them on knowing if they are indeed this type of hybrid, or if it's important for them to know. Can you share more about that?
Yeah. There's a heart aspect to them. There's an energy of knowing that they've always been different. Many of them have felt alone, yet they are not. There's many of them that are still flying under the radar, a lot of them still not realizing the capacity of who they are. Many of them are so modest and so egoless and so focused on the collective, such beautiful souls. So even upon hearing this, there might be an inkling of, oh, perhaps that makes sense of why I feel a certain way. But a lot of them will still discount it and be like, no, I don't think that could be me, because they are so egoless. But I want the souls that are hearing this to know this is acknowledgement of them and who they are and of their mission. There are star codes that are being activated within you hearing this. I'll transmit the frequency now. Yaladnatalohatara. Yashaladnatalokolo-dihatara. Mialanadatokoladar-tayor. Yaladara-tokoladar-tuhiyar. Yashaladnatalokoladar-tiyar. Mialadnatakala-arata-ayar-sotar. Yaladalakoyasharadaha. Yaladalakoyalanahatake. Miasalatakala-taharatkeaya. Yalanatake-ayahosoro. Yashar. Yaladnataloko-siaratakeara. Yalotokoyahatera. Miataloko-lusini. Ihalatakayo-shayadara. Ahalatokoyaratakearate. Melanohatakayalahatokoya. Yashalodoloko arnakwasar. Maluhortekearnaha. Yahaloleko-shuruna. Ilnatakaladaratakayalodhatar. Yayato. Melanartakayahusi. Alululakayaya tiartar.
Wow, that was a beautiful transmission. Thank you. Is there anything else that you would like those activated by that transmission to know at this time?
They are, in fact, the chosen ones. They are the ones that you hear about in the prophecies, the Hopi prophecies, the 144. And there are seeds of destiny that have been planted within them. And many of this was encoded within their ancestry long before their soul even chose to come to Earth. It was planted bloodlines and bloodlines and bloodlines way before you came into existence in this reality. There's a universal harmonic knowing and convergence that this destiny was unrolled before you even came onto this path.
That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that. It's always fun to understand a little bit more of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there's... Oh, go ahead.
Many of them just need to work on their confidence on a physical level. That's all that's really needed. And to choose with their hearts and higher self. Stop pleasing everyone else. That's the main message that they have.
Wonderful advice. Wonderful advice. Anything else that it's important for us to know about these hybrid humans and their appearance or their existence on the planet at this time?
Many of them have started unmasking, much to the surprise of others. You'll see their true hybrid nature come through, because we're seeing things as they really are now. And this is where many of the humans talk about, with people seeing shape-shifting, or seeing like demonic energies within people or reptilian energies within people. Just as we see the negative unmasking, we also start seeing the positive unmasking. So this may come as a big shock in terms of physical reality to see these things not being so hidden now. As I say this, there's like physical shimmers and bubbles in my body that I feel like my body's starting to oscillate with that and to shake a little.
Mm. All right. Anything else that we need to know about light language? As we had that transmission come through, I was just reminded about the how much light language is coming through, and in so many different ways, and through so many different people. And just curious if there's any messages around light language for the collective today.
Yeah. So it's a lot of transmission coming in from higher dimensional states of reality. Some of it coming from the more angelic realms and from some of the seraphim realms. Some of it comes through from realms where ascended masters reside, but some of them that are the most pure in tone and pure in intention, energy, and frequency are coming through from those particular souls' higher selves. Many of them existing octaves and octaves and octaves and octaves and octaves above their physical dimensionality. This is the part of them that's closest to source. And so when they bring this down and disseminate it onto the earth reality, sometimes there's codes and tiers that are activated, deeper senses of knowing, remembrance, and a shifting of who they are on a physical level and an awakening of their codes and language within themselves. Many people will speak it after they hear it and come in contact with these particular souls.
That's beautiful. Is there a shift right now with light language coming through? Are more people accessing it, or is there more codes coming in at this time?
More people are remembering that it is in fact first nature to them rather than second nature like their native earth language. So many people are dissolving bounds of illusion that perhaps kept them separate from the true soul language. And a lot of them are speaking, it's a language of light. There's certain frequencies of light that comes through from the modulation of the tones. It's creating a mass stir, a wave of awakening. It's very connected also to the dolphins and to the whales. They're very, very receptive to us speaking light language. And it does have an effect on their sonar energy, just as it does on also other beings that may be seen as having disability. Light language has an effect on their souls and their codes, and they have an understanding of this on a deeper level too.
Mm. I'm just curious. Is light language spoken in the cosmos as like the primary language?
It's more that we speak with telepathy. So back in Council on Sirius and in many different star places in the Pleiades nation, we speak more with what you would call down here in Earth realm telepathy or empathic telepathy. So a lot of what we transmit is our thoughts, feelings, and an emotion. We have a higher guidance system when it comes to that. But when we wish in a ceremonial way to activate, this is where we use what you call light language. So different tones and healing vibrations are transmitted. And also, you might find this interesting in the lovemaking process too. to convey higher emotional. It's like a bubble or like a wave or a feeling and an energy that we wish to transmit, because it's like having a bubble that we can encode with certain frequencies and then like drop that bubble on people and they're met with a wave and a wash of emotion. So yeah, it's used more for ceremonial purposes and conveying high levels of emotion and connection. That's how we use it natively off world.
That's so fascinating. Thank you for sharing.
Oh, also, it's used in ritual, in coming of age ritual. What you would call a shaman down here will sometimes speak people's soul missions into them or activating soul missions that are within them. It's like singing the codes of their soul's mission or path. And it's like playing the keys to awaken that door within their hearts and minds and consciousness. So it awakens things that they maybe perhaps had a feeling or emotions about and brings it into certainty for activation. We should have that down here in the earth realm.
Well, absolutely, I agree. I was curious if that sort of practice maybe will come into more use on Earth as we shift and we change.
Yeah, we've had this in Atlantis and also Egyptian days. Many of the high priests and shamans or conduits of the light spoke that light into people. So they are revering and receiving this light and they speak it. It's like angelic energies being activated within people. I wish I could display a better movie or picture that they're showing me. But it's like this beautiful symbols that almost look like elvish kind of light language symbols coming in as codes being activated. So it's living light that we see activated within these people that are being sung into people.
Wow.
In fact, original culture has a little bit of this too. Sometimes this can be used for negative or positive purposes at once, received down here into the 3D earth realm. You can sing things into existence or you can sing things out of existence, is how it might be more used in a tribal culture.
So I just want to make sure that I understand that correctly. So light language can be used negatively?
Yes, not often, but when it's attuned to dark forces, and there's not many people that do this. I'm being shown 3. It's got like a jolt of energy with that realization. There's like a red black energy that comes with those souls.
All right. Well, we don't need to tap into that energy too much here.
No.
Well, I'm curious, you had mentioned your Sirius lifetime, and I know that we had explored that lifetime last session. Is there anything more that you would like to share today around that lifetime or the connection to soul and her soul group here on Earth?
Yeah. Tell Soul she needs to go for more regular visits of counsel. She does a lot of work for other people, but she's not making the time to have her own convergence of energy. She's so busy and preoccupied helping others. She needs to make more effort and time to connect. It's like there's counsel being held and her seat's empty. She needs to beam up more.
Is that in a conscious way, like during her waking hours, during her dreams? What advice do you have for her on that?
To go into the zone, the wavelength, and to meet in the conscious mind ready to receive a transmission. And then she can bring that back for the collective too. That's part of her role, is to bring back or be a conduit for messages from these council meetings and from other higher forms of frequency and knowledge. She has a good, clear pathway to bring down and to harmonize these messages without tainting them in thought. Human thought can be very heavy, very dense. She has a way of keeping it in the pureness of how it is spoken. That's just part of her program.
And I'm curious, are there others in Soul's soul group that are in similar positions or could use similar advice? I'm curious if there's others that need to hear this or...
Yeah. So you, Jake, Lisa, Johnny. I seek others too, but I can't necessarily put my finger or name them. It's like to remain hidden still, but they're there, I can feel them. All the groups are interconnected in certain ways. And there's others like in support. Well, it's interesting. I'm seeing Corbin as well. And I'm seeing my partner too. It's interesting. There's like, I don't know how to describe it. There's one that's sort of connected, and then there's like another energy that helps hold. But they're also like they can be interchangeable. But they're receiving these codes and missions and transmissions.
Just want to make sure that I understand. So there's another soul energy that sort of supports the council members or those who are part of these councils. Is that what you're saying?
So in partnership at the human level, you might have one person that I guess receives information or has these council meetings, and another person helping to ground and hold that frequency and energy in order to bring it back into this portal or into this realm. But some of them will eventually be interchangeable, where downloads will happen and there's that other physical component of the other person holding space and grounding or holding that person while they're in channel mode. And then we might see the switch or change over or the other person receiving information. It's like one person will feel more comfortable, and then the other person will start to build confidence and work to receiving these transmissions too. And the people that we named are more, they need to hear the message. The others are still more hidden, but there's many of them. Like I'm seeing about 20 people just in the group collective now. But a lot of them are to be unnamed at this point in time.
Mm. Wow. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. I need to go back and watch this again to get all of that information. Is there anything else that you would like to share around our soul missions, whether that be collectively or individually in this soul group?
Yeah. Spirit is showing me what looks to be a sea or an ocean of stars with all these little boats in it, with souls in the boats, like a bardo between worlds. Each of us that is part of our soul family collective has an equal counterpart energy of our higher self that's residing outside our earth dimension realm reality. It would be what we would consider outside of the matrix and beyond beyond that water dome. Just in knowing this, we can start to make connection and contact and bring through and stream and relay messages from outside of our realm matrix reality. If we can connect into this plasma sea, waters above type ocean, there's a whole sea of information that we can transmit and receive.
Wow, how fascinating.
Mm.
And is this different than is this a different aspect of our higher self than we would connect to, say, during like a hypnosis session like this or in meditation?
Yeah. The way it's shown to me, it's like the aspect of us that is awake playing the game. The more that we connect to the player of the game, and the game meaning like this earth matrix reality, the more that we can actually be the programmers that change things. That's not meant to be known.
Who doesn't want us to know that?
It's part of like lore down here. We're not meant to know how to recode from within. It's meant to be hidden, meant to be kept secret. I don't really care to keep it secret. My job is to help reveal and to help break down some of the walls and codes and barriers. I'm not really meant to do it. But yeah, bit of a rebel.
Well, thank you for sharing the information. Are those rules or those laws changing or shifting? Like, is that something that we as a collective can decide to change?
Just as the dark side has been pushing boundaries, the light side is also pushing boundaries. And with that, each one that wakes up and pushes from the light side, there's a ripple effect that hits the collective. And this is where we're getting mandala effects. We're getting deja vu. We're getting break off timeline realities. We're getting people wake up and swear that like the yesterday was a different dimension or a different timeline. But it's to do with the parts of us that are in pods, that are recoding. Some of the recoding happens in pods.
Well, since you mentioned pods, I'm curious, is this the same pod concept that you discussed with us last session around connecting with higher self?
Yes. We can talk more about that if you like.
Oh, I would love to, please.
I see like a salty, ambiotic fluid in the pods. This is like a medium between the physical relay density and the spiritual higher dimension. It's a conduit between realms and realities. It's a source just like water for holding information and encoding different things. So as we sit in the pods, we now want to teach you about how to fill them up with this ambiotic starlight fluid. There's an osmosis that takes place and a memory when this water hits and fills and connects in with the physical or the mental bodies. So all you have to do is in fact just visualize yourself in the pod and then visualize this fluid filling up. It hits the spinal column and activates the chakra points and activates these energy centers. With this, we can send messages and imprint into this fluid, and then it helps to pop things into our density. Just like programming water, like Dr. Emoto, and also like Veda Austin as well. Messages can be sent and received in this way. So at this time, what we would like to teach you about the pods is that you all in fact, operate your own individual pods. This is something that everyone has access to. And a lot of this has been kept hidden or made to seem like it's something within the movies. But it has also slipped through the cracks into the movies to help reawaken many people working behind the scenes to bring this knowledge into reality so that we can reprogram the matrix. We can reprogram the state of existence that we're living in. The other thing that I need to tell you about the pods is that when we're in this pod state, we can actually link up, and there's a hybridized form of consciousness that takes place and reconnects us on a collective level. We start to work as one mind, and this is an even faster way to speed up the progress of reprogramming this matrix down here in the earth reality. And in fact, if we can all connect to the 144 whilst we're in this pod space and this hive mind collective, we can shatter and disassemble the whole of the matrix program. But we cannot leave it vacant or empty or give it and being paused. We cannot leave it vacant. You have to have a pattern or a plan or a code. We cannot leave it vacant. You wouldn't want to do that. That could be destructive or cataclysmic.
Are you referring to the matrix? That we can't leave the matrix vacant?
Yeah. We could even wipe ourselves out of existence and cease to exist. Or worse still, we could have a dark force come in and try and hijack it, which has already somewhat happened, but we still have control. We still can change the narrative. We together need to come up with, I keep seeing a golden celestial timeline, like a giant crystalline golden castle. We need to reconnect back to our royal lineage. And this is a lineage of the higher self driving down here, not the lower ego self or lower mental self.
So it sounds like it really is a call to bring our higher selves down here rather than like abandoning ship and returning. Is that?
Yeah, but just to get comfortable with this fluid. Interesting. Because we have this fluid within us, but there's an interface when we're in the pod and we choose to switch on or fill up that amniotic fluid around us. It re-simulates womb space energy and where and what we were doing in womb space energy. We still have this fluid within our cerebrospinal fluid. It's the plasma in our body. This is surrounding ourselves in this plasma with this amniotic fluid that they're describing. This is connected to higher forms of light and intelligence. And we must not let that be hijacked. There must be free-flowing plasma within the body physically too, in order for it to run harmoniously and to keep homeostasis within the physical factors of the body. This is partly why Soul had to get her nose fixed. This was all about timing.
Is there more information around that you'd like to share for the collective at this time?
When we create space within the sinus cavity and within the sphenoid bone, this allows for the higher ups to flood more light into that area and to activate the psychic senses. So the more that you visualize more light, the more that you can also let the plasma sun consciousness permeate into this area, the higher that you're being awakened and activated. So it's important to keep these areas clear. This is why she had to have her nose replaced, repositioned, to allow more of that subcutaneous pillar energy to be occupied with light and to open up those passages, is to open up the passages of channeling and higher consciousness. It's activating acupuncture points and flooding light within the light body, anchored into the physical.
I'm just curious. That reminds me of breath work, and I'm curious if breath work, or if there are other suggestions or advice that you would have for the collective on maintaining this open channel or in enhancing it, because not everyone needs the adjustments that Soul is having. But what advice would you have for others?
So yes, breath work, but the other way that we'll describe it now is almost turning yourself inside out. So if you as a soul can feel your energy traverse into that kingdom, that palatial energy around the sinuses, and see your energy stand within there, it is like being in council, or is like being in chambers. So you can visualize yourself growing small and standing in that cavity here. It's like your own version of standing in council. It sounds almost ridiculous, but just try it. It's like climbing in through the ear, growing really small, and standing within the chamber of the physical body. It's like we all have our own innate healing chambers that were built in physically, but we don't know how to access these. The same as we don't know truly how to access the womb portals. But yeah, just to give it a go. Stand in that palatial point. Stand in the gates of consciousness. And stand and surround and flood light into that area. See light anchoring. And then grow yourself big back into the body again. This is also how we can help to anchor more light. It's essentially what you would call an interface. So when we tweak and we work on the interface, we bring through more information, and things come through more harmonically too. We are able to deduct and make sense of things a lot more. But essentially, the reason that we want you to shrink and go to that space is because of centralized acupuncture points that are vital around that area for activating higher consciousness. But breath work can do the same. It's about activating the DMT within the body too.
I don't mean to make light of this analogy or this description, but all I can think of is the magic school bus and how there was something to that.
Yeah, and there was an old 80s movie where the man shrunk down into
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Oh yeah. And Spirit keeps saying to me, I know it seems silly, but just try it. There's something about we have an inner palace. You'll find it in Chinese. There'll be translations. In a palace, in a kingdom. The key is in the acupuncture points.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. I'm excited to give it a try.
And I've written them down in my book. But there's a different understanding, a key that I didn't understand fully before they're showing. There's definitely more to it. I feel that they're only giving us a little touch in, that we'll probably get another transmission, even possibly a year from now.
As the information is necessary.
Yeah. They don't want to overwhelm, but they're just saying practice. Practice standing in that kingdom in the palace. It's almost like the light of the pineal. We're bathing, just like we would bathe in the light of the sun. And there's different codes that go off within us. When we bathe directly as a small version of us in that palace, and we bathe in like the honeycomb light of that beautiful pineal, there's different things that are activated within our consciousness and our soul mission.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much. Are there any other rituals or meditations that you'd suggest to either connect with our pod energy or along the same lines as stepping into that inner palace?
Yeah, they're showing me it's like a tonal key, similar to accessing each of the sounds from the chakras, but it's not the traditional Vedic ones. This is more the tonal key within your spinal column, within your soul, within your chakras, to feel into it. So like to feel into root chakra, receive a tone, feel into sacral, receive a tone, and returning from the bottom up. So each of the collective starts to come together when we work with frequency in this way.
It reminds me of what you said about tuning back into our own frequency rather than looking for that external.
That's what it feels like.
Beautiful. All right. I'm curious if there's anything else around the Sirius lifetime that we can talk about at this time. I was especially curious around Anubis showing up in connection to Soul and this parallel lifetime. I was wondering about Isis and if Soul, her parallel lifetime, if that was connected to the Isis energy, or what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, Spirit's giving me like a ripple of that energy being contained and existing within. So it would be a fractal of that energy contained within.
Okay. You mentioned fractal a few times here. I'm sorry, were you going to add more?
We can actually access these fractals like picking up diamonds and closing the eyes and listening and feeling into it. And that's how we can understand more about that aspect of consciousness with the fractal. Like little seed codes.
That's fascinating. I'm curious. So, Sol and I had talked about this idea of higher self and our personality or our consciousness here on Earth, and the fractal element to that. Can you explain more of the higher self and how that works from a fractal perspective, or if there's a different analogy or way you'd like to describe it?
Yeah. So what they're showing me is like a big diamond fractal that is the oversoul. And each of the little facets of that diamond are individual diamonds. And so they're showing me, they keep handing me a basket of diamonds, and we're piecing together, tapping into various different lifetimes and fractals. But it's all part of that one unique oversoul. So many people are putting the pieces of the puzzle back together right now, and we're looking at them individually, but it would be interesting to look into the oversoul or anchor as many of these diamond light aspects of self that we can whilst we're down here in the earth plane. That is a little bit more rare.
You mean it's rare to have a lot of that oversoul contained on Earth or put back together?
Yeah, like the puzzle being somewhat complete is more rare.
Mm.
Usually it's like receiving when you incarnate a jigsaw puzzle, like a box filled with all the pieces, but we don't understand how they fit. Astrology can be some of the key to understanding that, and so can sometimes like channeling and receiving different downloads and information. But we want to share with you the best way in which you can help to refractalize that oversoul back together. So there's a myriad of frequencies and tones and energies, or a way to put together all of the facets. So when you receive a theme across many different lifetimes, and you can dissolve and collapse those timelines, or you can dissolve and collapse any inherent traumas or belief systems or themes across lifetimes, you are in fact reharmonizing those facets back together. And with the reharmonizing, there's a restructuring of that higher knowing and that oversoul coming back together. But an easier way to do that would be just to visualize building that complete, all the diamond light coming back together. So not having to have a mental concept or understanding, but a point of view of it is done, it is done, it is done. I hold all of the codes and fractals of my oversoul, code back into one luminous piece, shining that diamond light fractal down into this container on this earth realm, shining and streaming it through into my soul that is incarnate in the physical form, understanding the full collective bandwidth of information that I carry within that luminosity of the oversoul, and asking for direct transmissions to come through with that ambient light, that omnious. Feel that connection to our universe and connection to other multiverses. So this oversoul has the diamonds of light that are connected to various lifetimes within this soul plane and dimension. But there's also other, when we talk about this oversoul giant diamond, that's just for this universe. What about the other diamonds or oversoul energies from the other multiverses? We can go on and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And we can tap more and more into reassembling all of these diamonds back together. And in fact, this is also related to the 144,000, because you have 144,000 oversoul aspects of self. So we are playing a game within a game within a game within a game, or a fractal within a fractal within a fractal. Just like diving into a Mandelbrot, there's a world within a world within a world. It gets really, really deep. This is also partly why we have guides to assist us within this.
Do you mean guides as in spirit guides or like shamans
Yeah,
who help guide?
both.
Okay. It's sometimes hard to wrap your mind around that scale.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think from what they're showing, it's not so much about getting our mind around it, it's playing with the creativity of it and opening our soul up to playing. We know all of this as children, and it's really, really easy to take on the concept or to play with that reality. But we build up mental concepts or having to have a perfectionism, and are we doing it right? And we delete our self knowing that we're born with.
Mm. So it sounds less like the conscious pursuit of past life memories and more so an embodiment or like a knowing, like that it is done, or that you
Yeah.
have already consolidated.
Yeah. So bringing all of your fractal diamond light oversoul energies together, in one meditation, visualization would be probably the easiest human word to explain. And making that complete, building that complete, it's all we have to hold or visualize or feel. And then I just hear the words, it is done, it is done, it is done. It's really much more simple than what our human mind will allow us to perceive. Just like the iPhone, the simplicity is the magic.
I'm curious because I've heard from quite a few sources that it can be tough for a physical body to have a large amount of the higher self energy or the oversoul energy in that physical container. Is there any danger to people in consolidating in this way, or what kind of safeguards should people be aware of, or what advice would you have around that?
So this is why we talk about like a streaming of that light, or the fractal of the light that comes from that oversoul diamond into the soul, and it comes down through the channel. It comes down into the chakra system, the vagus nerve, into the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, and it extends into the acupuncture system, into the light body, floods that temple that we talked about in the sinuses, that beautiful space of meeting. But for those that have too much of the light come through, or it disrupts or upsets, sometimes this is also what you would call demonic or archonic shadow influence. So some people will have aspects of the diamond light that have a lesser light being connected, or a false programming, or a synthetic diamond light that tries to encode itself in as someone's fractal. So they might not be what you consider to be whole, happy, complete. They might be taking on archonic influence and aspects that are not to their true oversoul or true self. So we have to be very, very careful of synthetic overlay and astral interference, or interference from other more malefic or non-beneficial overshadowing taking place. This is more where we get disruption within light, and we get more where people start to get what we call alters, or demonic overshadowing.
Did you say altars?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I understand. Can you explain?
Yeah, so there might be sometimes where you see someone flip or switch. Sometimes in human terms, this is what we might refer to as bipolar disorder, or like other narcissistic programs. It's where someone's operating outside of the human, true coded version of self, and they're having other archetypal energy influences come in to disrupt or fragment that original soul connection. It's like an overshadowing taking place. And this is sometimes where empaths in particular will see people glitch in and out of their connection, or the person's connection that they're looking at outwardly. They'll see something else jump in. And this is someone hijacking these diamond fractals, more in what you would say is the astral. So demonic and archonic influence are in fact very, very real, and do permeate into this reality. But it is more what you would say synthetic to our true human, organic, spiritual connection nature of reality. They don't have jurisdiction. So we have to excode them out. We have to purge that virus. We see it running rampant in this day and age. It was more a fear parasite in older medieval times. And there is a symbiotic parasitic connection within the physical architecture of the body. This is why detox and parasite cleanses are essential for the coming of this golden age.
So is it about our intention then when we're meditating and we're calling in that higher self, that oversoul? Is it about our intention, or is it about a protection ritual, or is that going to be individual to each person?
The easiest way that we can explain it is holding the diamond light fractals and feeling them whole, healthy, and complete within your own stratosphere of your soul's encoding and frequency. Each is like a mirrored fractal version of who you are on a unique individual level. So making sure that there's no room for hijacking, and just simply hold that vision, hold that feeling, hold that light above the crown chakra, because this is the first point of contact into the physical energetic matrix system of our unique energy body. And it plugs into the physical that way.
Mm. Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I just wanted to make sure that we had all the information so people could be as discerning and careful as possible, because I want to make sure that everyone's safe.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that you want to share around this topic that we've been discussing?
From my higher self, more just how much I love everyone in our soul collective and how proud I am of seeing each person flicker and glimmer those facets, those diamonds, and knowing that collectively we're bringing it back together and that we're all doing our part in that mission, and just seeing all of those beautiful, multifaceted diamonds that are above our crown, seeing them come together harmoniously. It's just pure magic. I'm just so proud and have so much love for each person that came to do this, because it's not easy.
Not easy indeed. It's a tough school down here.
Definitely.
I know we've been kind of all over the cosmos here, but I did have one more question around that Sirius lifetime and some of the events that you showed us last time that we were here. Is that all right if we address that?
Sure.
So I was curious about the multidimensional cataclysm that had been sent to destroy, if I remember correctly, Sirius's connection to Source. Those beings kind of damaged their vibration. And I'm curious how that affected Earth, because you said that it had a widespread impact across different dimensions and different planets.
If you imagine it to be a beautiful council temple, like a dome, kind of Colosseum energy, and imagine it being hit with what's like a thunderous earthquake and a split and crack in some of the foundation of that dimensional interior. This makes it much harder to be able to transmit messages. And this is why we have oracles and we have people that can relay things. It's just much harder for, I guess, the collective to receive transmission and bandwidth for it, since that there was damage that took place and happened. But there is still an ongoing effort to rebuild these higher dimensional council quarters.
So that was one of my questions, was around the support and collaboration that is happening, because I'd imagine that there's many beings and many other groups that are helping us with mitigating this damage or repairing this damage. Can you share more about that?
Yeah, a lot of the higher angelics, they're really trying to help, like hold some of the weight and stop any further cracks appearing as well. But we can help as souls individually and collectively to help repair this. It's more just sending our love, sending our healing as well. Like we're just as powerful down here in the earth realm if we wish to send healing and we wish to send a repair of that. It was a destabilization within, I guess, what you would call council. It looks almost like a Star Wars kind of Galactic Federation energy. And a lot of the attack was happening there because they wanted to throw into dismay a lot of the point of help that is helping people in the earth reality. A lot of the shift and change that we see coming is actually happening from the earth up. So a big portion of this timeline shift and change, and a big part of, I guess, the experiment that has been taking place down here really relies on Earth actually breaking free from this. So that's also why they chose to hit some of the higher communication that was keeping Earth, I guess, being fed little breadcrumbs, little clues and things as to how to escape this matrix programming and duality.
I'm curious if there was a higher purpose to this event, to this cataclysm.
Yeah. So it was actually, when we look at the higher aspect of it, higher purpose, it was to awaken awareness between the different dimensions, because it was a ripple effect that was sent echoing through various different layers and dimensions. So it was said that when it happened that it would have been a negative implication, although at the same time positively, just like how we see within mass programming taking place in the earth realm with some of the what we refer to as New World Order takeover agenda down here in the earth realm, it's actually caused a lot of people to wake up. So we're seeing this within this dimensional hit that came from that beautiful temple in Sirius. A lot of waking up has taken place as a result of this.
Mm. Thank you for sharing that. I was curious, and I always appreciate looking at things from different angles and understanding the different levels and layers of things. So thank you so much for sharing that. Is it okay if we switch topics a little bit here?
Yeah.
So I was curious to ask Soul's higher self what best questions you might have, or what additional questions, because at this point we've covered a lot of ground and we've explored a lot of topics. Curious if there's anything specific you would like us to ask today.
Yeah. Flower essences, individually and for the collective, there's many different things. Oh, this is one that um, I guess back in my college days I actually wanted to make. For the collective, there is a flower essence, it might be a bit harder to get. Hoya, Hoya, shooting star. And it's a cluster of stars, like a waxy succulent. And it's all these little stars together as a collective bulb, but they're individual shooting stars. That one is a really good one for the collective to take to harmonize.
Wonderful. Do you have any individual ones for Soul? Was there an individual aspect that you wanted to share?
Yeah, jasmine for predominantly for homesickness, and silver princess, an Australian native, to help sort of keep in unison with her mission and not have to feel to fit in or blend or to be same as others.
Wonderful. Is there anything else around flower essences that you would like either Soul or the collective to know about?
To not underestimate the power and importance of using frequency that comes in from higher spiritual planes, that it's able to land and we're able to catch it here, the essence and vibration of it in the physical reality. It's literal alchemy, magic made manifest in the material realm.
Mm. And that's in regards to the flower essences and how they work?
Yeah, and even in regards to herbs and flowers, because flowers being connected to the spiritual dimension and plane and their perfume, especially being connected to the divine, we're able to receive like a little glimmer or window or facet of that into the physical reality. So it's medicine for our souls, but it's helping us to eliminate and detox old programs and old things emotionally that are no longer needed, as well as helping us to step us into the next higher plane and dimension when we're ready.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm interested to find that flower essence for myself.
Mm.
Another question that
Sorry, another one.
go ahead.
They're showing me bluebells for the fairies. So for those that wish to connect to the elementals and the fairies that are there for our best and highest good, little bluebells, bluebell essence.
Oh, I love that. And I know this soul family, this collective will enjoy that as well.
Yeah.
Anything else coming through before I move on to a different question?
The importance of color and frequency encoded in water. We should be drinking more of the color spectrum.
Mm.
The underplay of the importance of color as medicine. It's just, if you look at the translucent nature of what we're fed in this density on junk food proportions, and the empty nutritional value of a lot of things, we actually need to be consuming things that have a higher light code density to them.
Mm.
You'll see things like blue-green algae, red hibiscus, spirulina, things that have like a high energy, and other superfoods, like an electricity of light that's around them when you look at them with Kirlian photography. We should be eating more light density foods and filling up that rainbow. So a lot of the colorful foods have higher antioxidants, and they help for better cell turnover, oxygenation. They help fight free radicals and aging. They help us to breathe light and breathe energy into every single cell within our body. They help us to extend longevity, to fight illness and disease, to optimize our system. Essentially, we were designed to operate off these, but we've moved further and further and further away and denatured more and more and more. So I guess talking about the importance and purity of foods that are for this energetic light body interface into the physical. It's like a harmony or a bridge between worlds when we eat this way.
And I can't help but think about all of the artificial color dyes that are used, especially here in the United States. And it seems like a very clear hijacking of the power of color.
Yeah. Isn't that tricky? Very sneaky of them,
Mm-hmm.
almost capitalizing on our organic inbuilt programming in nature of what we would look for and manipulating it.
Mm-hmm.
It's devilish, to
Truly.
say the least.
Well, thank you for sharing that and for clarifying. I know that that idea of eating the rainbow is such an important thing and really resonates with me a lot. And so I'm so glad to hear you say that as well.
Yeah.
Anything else along those lines that is important to share?
The importance of energized water. A lot of the water that we drink here on Earth is flat and it's denatured to its true original essence. It needs to go through a process of energy osmosis. And what I mean by this is a reanimation of the liquid within the cells. So sending energy to the water, invigorating it, inviting the spirit essence of water to actually be alive within it too. There's various different devices and ways to do this. There's not just one way. There can be like putting it through a magnetron type energy vortex spin. Can be running it through tensor rings. It could be running it through an electrolysis vortex. It could be running it through, I don't know what this is, but I'm hearing helium spiral. Putting and programming certain non-toxic crystals within. Putting it onto grids and patterns. But most effective is communicating to the consciousness of the water.
I was curious because not everyone has access to those machines or to those physical ways of re-energizing, and it sounds like consciousness is the most effective way.
Yeah, it's the purest way to source. That's the
Wonderful.
pure magic, the pure alchemy. Everything's within.
I was curious if the elementals are able to help us with this, or if they play a part. You had mentioned the, I guess, the spirit of water. Is that what you were
Yeah,
referring to?
yeah, they're very connected to ether. And the spirit of water does somewhat reside connected to ether as well. So you could consider that they can communicate within that same wavelength or vibrational realm. It's like the consciousness of water became very sad with the manipulation of what happened to water down here and to do with the devaluing of her on a soul level. So she chose to leave in certain parts that had once held great levels of awareness and awakening within certain sacred water sites. She chose, because of the heaviness, to leave some of these places or leave only fragments of her consciousness behind, still there waiting to be reanimated or activated.
Mm. It seems like we're at a point of remembering, though. It seems like many across the planet are remembering the importance and remembering the consciousness of water. Is that shifting?
Yeah, and it's also because we are water. So we were remembering who we are, and she's our mother in a way too. You know, she flows through us, similar to blood flowing through the veins. But water being that substance that's connected to the supernatural aspect of us, the energetic chakras, and our nervous system aspect too.
Mm-hmm.
That plasma exchange that runs up and down the spinal column. She's the substance that we're first born into in that womb space too. So we are from her. She is part of us.
She is indeed. She is indeed. Thank you for sharing that. And I know everyone's going to appreciate hearing that information. I was wondering if we could switch to a different topic here and explore a couple other interesting questions that Sol and I had. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. One of the questions that we were really interested in knowing more about was the coming events of this next year. And I had a session where I had a client's higher self share with us that there would be sort of an unmasking of ETs and those off-world beings who are amongst us in their form in this coming year, in 2025. And I'm curious if you can share any more information or any more details around that unmasking.
Yeah. So look to a lot of what we would say like the old tribal cultures, because many of them have had visitation for millennia. And with this as well, they have recorded some of the information and documented some of it, especially the Native American tribes. So some of them have knowledge on when this return will take place and how this will take place, and they're still in deep conversation with some of these beings to this day, many of them ancient, having known several generations of Earth people and still visiting their ancestors and relatives today. So this can help us more on a human level to know physically how they will be interacting, but also remaining open and pure in the heart will also help us to be able to see many of these beings revealing their true form.
And during that other session, it was revealed that many, not all, but many would be leaving Earth and would be returning home. Is that still what will be happening? Is that still the plan?
Do you mean in regards to ETs?
Mm-hmm.
Or
those beings that are among us and that are here on the planet in their form?
Yeah, so we have a higher amount at the moment. We also have had these around what you would call the Tartarian times. So around previous settlements here in the Earth realm, we visited key peak times in Earth's history or civilization. So there was a lot more hybrids and non-Earth people around these particular times. And we have a huge number of ET souls here on Earth at the moment, or hybrids. And they are very, very possible in this Earth reality. There's not too much different unless you're looking at it on a chromosomal level or looking at it on a microscopic level. Otherwise, we pass just fine.
Mm. All right. Fascinating. Are there those that do look very different than us here in their form?
There are some, just like I guess some of those that you see exposed like in the Men in Black movies, where they have such a very different physical alien form. There's a peak period in time coming up in 2027 where there will be a deeper unveiling and revealing of this, and perhaps even coming forward more into the spotlight. And it will become more and more common to know that these beings exist around us. So there'll be more stories, more history as well of it happening before, and more talk about it. There'll be a normalization taking place, and it's starting to also happen and take place now. We already know of Valiant Thor and his visits to the Pentagon. And just like that, there'll be other stories that come out. There'll be native stories that come out. A lot more people will start to pay attention to the native prophecies.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anything else that you can share around this sort of unmasking or disclosure of the other beings that are here with us?
Yeah, not to be frightened because it's already happened. We're re-experiencing this current timeline, but in fact, it's already happened.
Mm. Do you mean in other civilizations or at other periods of time, or do you mean in like a timeline sense, like a
In
multiverse
a
sense?
timeline sense, the vision that I'm being shown to looks like a giant galactic Starfleet mothership, and I'm seeing her sit within. It's almost like hiding behind an asteroid, but within close proximity to Earth. And I do feel that there's a part or point in the mission down here in the Earth realm reality in which they are ready to intervene at any second if there's a jurisdiction or some kind of perimeter breached around Earth. So it does feel like that there is a longing to come in and help, but they have to wait for clearance and permission. And I feel just like that, this has already happened too.
Mm.
So it's almost, in fact, to look toward the future, we have to look towards what's already happened and to gain access to this. This is more held within the knowledge of the heart or knowledge within what we call the black holes or the makers.
Mm. It's all a remembering, it sounds like.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else along those lines that is important to share with the collective at this time?
Yeah. To meditate and connect in communication with them, that's a huge point of support that we can give to our star brothers and sisters at this point in time, because many of them feel alone, just like we feel alone. And so to give them that point of contact and reference and acknowledgement, it makes their mission so much easier to do. And in fact, some of those versions of those ETs are actually versions of us. So it's like the fractal theory that we just spoke about before, or analogy.
So meditation is the best way to connect
Yeah,
with our star family.
yeah. And breath. Meditation, consciousness, connection, and breath. And just a gratitude for them being here and wanting to help us.
Is there a specific breath that you would recommend, or is it more intuitive?
It's more breathing fully into the chest, feeling that air up around the heart. It gets the pump to actually start to converge different. You see this in Rudolf Steiner's work about the heart being a vortex. So it's to do with how you're breathing energy and oxygenation into that vortex. And this can, in fact, pop you out into altered realities. This is part of how we teleport and time hop.
Mm-hmm. Is there more that you can share around that, around the teleportation and the time hopping?
Not at this stage.
Okay. All right. Is it okay if I ask another question?
Sure.
Wonderful. I was curious along the idea of seed codes, of these crystalline DNA like codes. There had been some information that came forward through Soul on another show with some other folks, and she had gotten this download, this information around a vault that is connected to the Vatican, or is underneath the Vatican, that is essentially holding or trapping seed codes or light codes for our DNA. And I'm curious if you can tell us more about that, um, and kind of what does that mean for us and our ascension.
Yeah, so it has been guarded by the dark side of things, and some of them are still partially surrounding that area. But what we see in regards to humanity, and the vision that I'm seeing with this, is a doorway with a golden glowing light that's being admitted or coming out of that. It does feel sort of like a hall or a library of records, but it does feel to do with like our genome sequencing and our genetic codes. That's the thing that I see to do with this as well, is it's across all aeons and all timelines and all species. It does feel like a seed bank is another way to describe it. And with this, I do feel holds the codes to undo some of the engineering that had taken place in some of the Nephilim days. So where we had telomere caps placed on the end to do with our DNA, I'm seeing that we're learning how to erase them and how to, in fact, open up longevity codes and start to animate different programs. So it's a really, really exciting time to be alive. The other thing that also is existing within that vault is ether alchemy. And there's fundamental states to the laws of ether alchemical science that we're only about to begin bridging on. And some of this was learnt and knowledge back in old alchemy days. But what we see with this is not so much an alchemy based on what you would call physical science, or say working with mercury or working with lead into gold. This is more based on there's a higher frequency or energy that goes to different alchemical symbols that is a geometric code or a geometric symbol. And so when we alchemize and bring these codes and symbols almost transparently together, interfacing and overlaying, this is where we start to explore the canvas of what can be done on a higher spiritual alchemical plane, and we start to get different things come in. This is also how some of the original God creation codes manufactured many different species here in the earth realm too. So it is tapping us into creator concepts, creator of our own reality. But this time it's to be used for good, not to create things that would be harmful to humans or spiteful from the darker side of things. There has to be also a genetic match with people that are to go within this vault or to download or relay some of these codes that come from this space. So not everyone will have access to it. In fact, that some people that might have access to it, if they're not on the same kind of wavelength synergy, they may get sick. They may just not be able to access it and get a blankness. So there are certain DNA ancestral bloodlines within people that these, I guess you would call custodians, have been looking for. Now, there's also been the negative custodians that are looking for being able to utilize someone to access this, and maybe accessing nefarious techniques for harvesting this DNA without people's full-blown permission. But a lot of these also have a lineage to the Christed bloodlines and to what we would say is ascended master lines on the earth too. These codes within these particular people are also what we would consider living relics of life, or light, that hold this within their physical life. So some of these codes are so ancient, so connected to source, but so watered down in this day and age that a reanimation and activation and keys from these vault could bring it back into full fruition. Does that make sense?
I think I'm following. Yes, yes.
So a very exciting time to be alive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I did have one clarifying question around those who wouldn't be able to tap into these light codes or to assimilate them. Is that accurate to what you were saying?
Yeah, it's by design.
Hmm.
So some of these people don't realize they hold certain aspects of DNA within them. There is a purity that comes with, and a lot of these people that hold these codes might not be aware that they have this within them, but it does keep coming back and traversing to the bloodlines. This is why DNA harvesting was a major political agenda over the last previous couple of years.
Hmm. Well, what else do we need to know about this vault and its opening?
So what they're showing me is I'm seeing what looks to be like a spiral staircase of DNA within certain humans and certain codes that will unravel or open up like a staircase that leads to higher information. It's going to enable us to step up and traverse into higher portals and to bring back and clarify information that we've always wanted to know. So I do feel that there are certain protectors of these bloodlines and certain protectors of this information that will be, I guess, moving the older dark side out in regards to they're only being allowed to have light phase transmission with these vaults and with the information stored on file there.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like the vault will essentially be returned to the hands of the light.
Yeah, the right custodians. And some of these we might refer to as Knights Templar and various other different things like the Essenes. They've been working for time and time and time.
Fascinating. Thank you for sharing all of that. I did have one question as well. I couldn't help but think about the ceremony that happened. I think it was within the last year with the Pope opening these doors that had been sealed. Is there any connection between those rituals and this vault being opened at this time?
Yeah, it had to take place before the prophesied passing.
Mm. So those doors opening, was that the trigger for this shift for the vault opening, or
It
was
was the
it?
beginning and the end. So the end for him, but the beginning for humanity. He did his part to complete and fulfill that prophecy, which in many ways is a death sentence.
Wow, getting major chills in my third eye right now. That's wild.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that we need to know about this, either the vault or what this means for this next phase of humanity's evolution? Anything else that you want to share?
They're showing me this is a place that if you have the right soul intentions, you can actually remote view and go to this place and look up your own records, your own DNA, and look up the sequencing pattern to reanimate it. And you can also enhance or take off those telomere caps within your DNA. The other thing you can also see within there are, it's like soul mission codes are connected with our DNA. So you can read someone's soul truth or their story as to like why they're here, and to see more information on who they are on a soul level, which is also connecting into other various past lives and things too.
Mm-hmm. Wow, such fascinating information. Thank you so much for sharing all of that with us. We are getting a little bit close on time here, and I want to make sure that Soul and Soul's physical body are doing all right.
Yeah, it is a little bit harder for her physical body at the moment after all of the nose cracking and adjustments
Mm-hmm.
taking place, but she's doing okay.
All right. Well, then, should we move on to Soul's personal questions at this time?
Yeah, if you've got enough from the other sections.
Oh, I think we've gotten a lot of information. I really do appreciate all that you've shared with us today.
Oh, good.
I guess the only other question before we move on to some more personal matters would be around our ascension and humanity's rising in frequency. And I was just curious if there are other star groups or galactic beings that are coming in to assist us at this time. You know, we have heard a lot about the Pleiadians, the Arcturians, these groups of beings that are helping us. And I'm wondering if they'll continue or if they'll be sort of relieved by the next guard, or how that sort of process works.
Yeah, so they're what we consider our galactic brothers and sisters, and those that came and also seeded into physical human form or offering their DNA so that we would hold this memory, this light within our physical space and our physical awareness and body. But there are even other higher realms that are windowing in to our reality right now. One of them I see is from an aquatic world and very mermaid like and very connected to the oceanic worlds here on Earth Realm 2. So there will be a healing that also takes place to do with the oceans, new technology that helps to clean things up and reveal the truth of the worlds that live within under the oceans. This is where we see many USOs and things like that also coming out to the true nature of our reality. So worlds within, worlds without. It really is a fascinating time to be alive.
It is, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that. Before we move on to Soul's personal questions, any other collective messages or anything else that you want to share with the collective today?
Just how much they're loved and respected and appreciated, and how valued they are for coming down here. I'm just seeing glowing golden spirit bending a knee and bowing to those that chose to come here into what is considered galactically one of the hardest missions that has ever taken place within our galaxy. So do not underestimate the importance of what you're doing here in the Earth realm. It really is a very, very much appreciated mission that you're on. And we just extend our heartfelt gratitude to these beautiful beings and the collective at this time. And we just offer our hope in seeing that this has already happened, it's already done, and this is about each of you individually trusting in the purity of your intuition, your heart, your sense of knowing who you are, and your duty that you bring with coming into this realm. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that with everyone. Take
Such
your
a
time.
funny sensation when you start to count, back into like coming emerging out of a dream. It's such a cool feeling. It's
Yeah.
like I didn't realize like how, like away the feeling was until you come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's so trippy. Thank
Right.
you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, very cool.
Very cool. I mean, so much information. I don't know if there's anything that I mean, a lot, a lot came through there, but anything that you consciously remember or sticks out to you or that you want to share about from this perspective on the other side?
Well, just interesting when you were counting me up the stairs or like counting me, back in. I saw what I can only describe as for a flash second, it was like a movie come in. And it was like I was, sort of coming back into consciousness. I saw this flash movie appear of like a Scandinavian Viking lifetime. And I saw my partner there. He had blonde hair and had like a woven kind of linen, heavier fabric vest. And I felt myself in my consciousness, but as a woman in that lifetime. And it was just for like a split second. I'm like, what was that? Yeah, so that was that was unexpected.
Yeah, fascinating.
Yeah. It
Huh.
was like I hit a window on the way up or something.
Right? Yeah, you're taking the escalator up and you look over and there's like a window that you're passing
Yeah,
like all your lifetimes.
that's what it felt like. Yeah, I'm just gonna click off on a button. Hold on a sec. Oh, there. Now I can see everything. It was just going across part of my screen.
Gotcha.
Yeah. No, that was so surreal.
Interesting.
I can remember not really much actually of like what we talked about. Just little threads. I'm like, no, I can't actually. It might even be from last time. I'm like, did we talk about Aya? I don't think we did.
No.
Um, yeah, it's like I know we talked about the important things and what we were supposed to. I think we talked about the Vatican thing, and
Hmm.
yeah, no, I don't remember much at all actually.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
It is.
Yeah,
It is interesting. Yeah, I mean, definitely, like I said, wealth of information for sure. I mean, this is definitely one that I'll need to review myself. I mean, I'm looking forward to listening back to it. Um,
yeah.
'Cause there was just so much, and you know, trying to process it all as we go, and then also think about questions. I mean, you do the best that you can, but yeah, really fascinating stuff.
Oh, cool. And was there anything in regards to like things that really stood out to you, or sort of were like a point of interest or intrigue?
I mean, most of it, I will say. I really loved the discussion around light language and the information that was coming through there. Um, I you probably don't remember, but there was quite a long transmission of light language as well that came through. That
Oh,
was an
I forgot about that.
activation.
Yeah, I forgot about that until you mentioned it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. That was super fascinating. The flower essences and like the importance of like charging water and stuff, like all of that information that came through was, it wasn't part of our questions, but it's clearly
yeah.
important information for the collective to have.
And
Um,
I think we mentioned lotus flower essence last time.
we did,
So
yeah.
that's really interesting. Spirits like getting into the flower essence again.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I just keep thinking about that concept. Can't remember where I heard it. Can't remember where I heard it, but that essential oils are basically like plants' blood. It's like their
It might be
blood.
the fragrant pharmacy book.
Mm,
There's one, and it's got the angelic essence of each of the flowers and what it represents. But yeah, I think it might be in that book. It's been 20 something years since I've read it, but
mhm.
I think fragrant pharmacy might have been in.
Okay, I'll have to check it out. But I kept getting reminded of that concept and the ways that these other beings, these other consciousnesses, uh,
Yeah.
how they support us in ways that we don't always understand all the details to, or the what's actually going on underneath the surface.
Yeah. Super intriguing.
Hmm. Hmm. Other than that, I mean, trying to I ended up like throwing my sheets all over the place because we were kind of bouncing around, and I'm trying to follow the flow of the
You did a
conversation.
good
And
job.
thank
You
you,
felt
thank
very
you,
good.
thank you. I definitely, I'm so interested to listen back to the seed codes and the vault under the Vatican, and that whole section. I mean, because there was a big chunk of it where I was trying to follow, and I like would get bits and pieces, but then I kind of lose the thread, and there was just so much information. And I think, yeah, listening back to it will help to elucidate it a
Yeah.
little bit more. But I don't know if you remember, but they your higher self shared that there was a connection between those doors that the Pope opened and this vault opening, and like the I guess the grander story of it all, and the process of it. And so that was fascinating.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's going to be so interesting to review and to listen to.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I could go back through everything and say everything was was fascinating and great. I mean, the all of the information around the 144,000 was just so cool.
I
And
forgot we looked into that.
oh, I'm so glad. I mean, it was even more than I was expecting necessarily to get around it. So yeah, another section that I'm looking forward to reviewing again, because
Yeah.
it's just it's just fascinating the amount of information that we can get this way. It's just so cool.
Wow, that's really cool. Well, thank you so much. It
Hmm.
was, yeah, like as a person being under, it's just, always feeling like really safe with you and really comfortable, confident. And I think this time I could sort of feel, the sinusy aspect was maybe a little bit harder, but in
Hmm.
terms of like still being able to bring through information, it's more that my voice just sounds more monotone or something at the moment when I'm hearing it compared to normal. But
Yeah.
yeah, I know that's just part of the healing process too.
Oh yeah, and it was not distracting in any way. I mean,
Oh,
your
good,
answers
good.
and everything came through perfectly clear. Um, I could hear a little bit of the drainage happening, uh, but yeah, you were perfectly clear. And yeah, thank you so much for your
Oh,
willingness
that's
to share this, and to go ahead even though you're going through what you're going through.